Hi everybody, this is Rod at the Dragonwing Den, back with another battle report. This time Jay and I played an adventure from the one that came with the adult brass dragon. It's called the Feathergale Society. And in this one, this sort of an evil secret society called the Feathergale Society. They must be really comfortable with themselves, I think, because that is not an intimidating name at all. Um, but they are trying to escort some hippogriff riders across the board and off the board on the opponent's side, and you win by getting at least one guy off the board that way. And here's the hippogriff rider. As you can see, it's no attack. It's pretty fragile, and so those are coming in one at a time on turns 1 through 2 and 3. They can only move straight forward. They can move 1, 2, or 3 straight forward, and you have to, as the evil player, which I was, you have to protect at least one and get it off the board in order to win the game. The good player wins if he kills at least one of them. The evil player gets 90 points to escort these hippogriffs with. You get an extra 5 points if you use the air cult rogue. I've been looking for a reason to use them, but not this time. I went a different way. And the good player gets 120 points to attack the hippogriffs and their defenders with. There's another stipulation in the scenario that it all takes place high in the air above a raging hurricane of some sort, storm of some sort. And so what happens in this scenario, if you're ever swooping, you can't do an action, you can't attack. If you're ever on the ground, you also can't do that stuff, and you take a point of damage at the end of the turn that can't be deflected with armor. So pretty punishing if you're on the ground. This does raise one possible strategy that I noticed that I thought about but rejected because it seemed a little too cheesy to me. I'll tell you why. What you could do is, as the evil players say, you could take a fighter like Rezmir, put him or her, I'm not sure, I think Rezmir may be a woman, on a giant vulture, which of course is the upgrade that comes with the air cult rogue that gives the hero character with a heroic upgrade a flying dial. They're riding on a giant vulture. And then you can give them a challenge, and they can be flying and challenge the other character and force that character to go swooping or land, and lose their attack, possibly lose their action that turn if you're going before them. And the thing that bugs me about that is that it's kind of not in the spirit of what challenge is supposed to represent, in my opinion. I mean, it's supposed to represent the fighter being on the ground and saying, hey, you come down here and fight, not being high in the air and saying, hey, why don't you go down there and not accomplish anything for no reason. It doesn't really make sense to me. So I did not go that way. I didn't really talk about it with Jay, but he didn't do that either. So that's good in my opinion. But that's just something you may want to be aware of should you decide to play this adventure. If you feel the same way about it I do, you may want to declare challenge off limits for the adventure. But anyway, that's pretty much that. So let's go ahead and look at the lists. So here's my list. Pretty straightforward. It's just Margros, the Red Dracolich, with a bunch of upgrades. He's got Flame Breath to deal damage. That's his main breath weapon. He's also got Paralyzing Touch, which is an upgrade don't think we've seen before. But when he hits with his bite or tail, he can disable it to try to paralyze the opposing creature, and that's going to force them to drop to the ground and not going to be able to attack. So, obviously in this scenario, for me, I'm trying to protect creatures, so shutting down attacks is a big deal for me in this scenario, and that's why I decided to give that a try. I've also got the Evil Sorcerer, who is giving me access to another arcane upgrade, and he can also be given 3 time tokens to cast a spell as a free action, which lets me, for example, cast Mirror Image, which I've got on Magros, in the same turn that I do a target token or something like that. Should I need to do that? So, like I said, mirror image, you can see that there. It's a defensive spell. I've only got one dragon, so I want to try to make him last. I've also got time stop, which is, the game's reset button. You basically stop everyone else from doing anything and get to take 2 turns. Your creature that time stop takes 2 turns by itself. And that's really powerful in this situation, I think, because again, it's sort of it skips and it forces your opponent to skip an attack phase. So in this context, it's sort of a reset button there, where if my opponent ranges in on a hippogriff, I can try to reset and force them to play another turn and maybe get the hippogriff out of range. And of course, I'm also trying to keep Mogros from flying into a bad situation. Like if he gets somewhere where he's in the crossfire of 2 dragons, spoiler alert, he can time stop to sort of try to get out of there, get behind his opponents, and get into a situation where he can try to deal with them one at a time. Finally, I've got Phantasmal Killer, which is an attacking spell that deals 3 dice penetrating. But you can also, if you damage with it, you can put time tokens on it to put a fear token on the creature you hit with it, and that fear token prevents them from attacking. So it's another way to take an attack off the table, which, like you said, is what I'm trying to do to protect these hippogriffs. So that's what I've got to work with, and let's see what Jay decided to do. So Jay's got 2 brass dragons. It's interesting. We haven't seen the first one yet, the adult brass dragon, Yannick, or maybe it's Janik. I don't know. It looks kind of European to me, so I've been saying Yannick, and I'll stick with that. Anyway, he's got fire breath, standard breath weapon. He's got a human paladin for an extra attack in his forward arc. It's a good choice. I mean, if he gets in biting range of one of these hippogriffs, he's got more attack dice to throw at it, and Confusion, a little defensive control spell to lower my primary attack value. And of course, it's an action, so it doesn't compromise his attacking ability. Well, a little bit, since he can't take a target or concentrate, but it still leaves his attacks on the table if he needs to do them. It's also interesting to note that Yannick has a special ability where if an opponent puts an effect token on him, he can immediately force them to remove 1 time token from their upgrade that uses the effect. So that gives him a little bit more resistance against things like paralyzing breath, which or my paralyzing touch, which normally would paralyze him for 2 turns, would only paralyze him for 1 turn. Sometimes that's all you need, but it is not a bad choice, and I think this is an interesting dragon. A bit fragile, but I'd like to see more of him, I think. Next, we've got our old standby Sievart, the ancient brass dragon. He's got fire breath, his main breath weapon, and sleep breath. Of course, I've used it on Jay before. He's going to try to use it on me. It's a good situation for it, since dropping someone to the ground is going to damage them automatically. He's also got Draconic Nature, which makes him immune to sleep and paralysis himself, which is a good choice, and maybe we need to be seeing more of that, especially since, he knows I love sleep breath and paralyzing people. He may take that a little more often in the future. We'll see. He's also got an Elven Ranger who can fire into gets an extra free attack, 2 dice into the forward or back arcs of Sievart's base. And of course, Disintegrate, attacking spell. It's really good on Sievart because he can, with his ability to do 2 actions, take an exhaustion token. As long as he keeps doing green maneuvers and clearing the exhaustion, he can keep disabling Disintegrate and targeting every turn, and potentially set himself up to disintegrate, which I believe we've seen before in at least 1 game. But anyway, that's what Jay has got to go against me, and let's see how they do. Start out the game here. Move this hippogriff. Pop that up pretty cautiously there. And Yannick over here is going to curve in that way. Jay set these dragons up sort of facing inward. I'm pretty sure on a whim. Uh, it's the way he sort of seemed to be treating it. Not sure if there's a strategy there or not. And a dodge on Yannick. And next Seabart coming in with the 4 bank. He is going to be pretty well positioned to intercept as Magros and escorts this Hippogriff going forward. It's not a bad idea. And Magros is going forward too. I believe a little cautious. Seavard, of course, has a dodge on him, and Magros. We're going to go ahead and mirror image. Using Magros on action, no need to put tokens on the sorcerer. Hippogriff again. I was supposed to put a Hippogriff out. I think I'm going to remember to put there's the other Hippogriff. It's coming out over here. I feel like splitting them up is your best option. So while this Hippogriff is coming out, Yannick is also doing another soft 1 bank to straighten up and confront Magros head on here. And Yannick will target I think we feel like it was a legitimate range 4. I give him the target token right on the razor's edge. That does get annoying with these games sometimes. Is the way it feels like it's frequently these days. It's been coming down to like razor thin margins of is this in or out of range? In a sense. Okay, Sievert's going to go ahead and do his double, exhaust himself to do his double action move, target and concentrate. That's not looking great for Magros here. There's the measurement for the target token. We did know he was in 4 because Yannick was in 4, so he's got to be in 4. And Magros is coming over here. Basically caught in the crossfire of these 2 dragons. This is, I'm going to think about this for a sec, but this is basically what I took time stop for, so time stop. There we go. It's still a difficult situation because we're all flying. There's not really any way for me to squirt out past these guys in 1 move. There goes 1 time token from time stop for the end of round 2. So here's round 3. Just gonna get as close as we can to Seavard there. Technically, I could technically do a action if I wanted, but there's no real point. And round 4, we're gonna flip, do a wing over right past him and get in the back. In addition to avoiding, these a double flame breathing or double fire breathing, I also want to try to keep in back of Seavar to avoid his sleep breath. So my hippogriffs. My chicken horses are moving forward. Chicken horse. They cluck and neigh at the same time. Anyway, so Yannick coming over here to that hippogriff is square in his sights. I mean, I knew that was gonna happen. By the way, Magros still has a mirror image up because it is his upgrade, but it has a continuous effect. So it does not lose time tokens during time stop. Also, you'll note the hippogriffs didn't move during time stop. That's in the rules, and you don't place a new hippogriff during time stop either. So, Seavard is now in the situation of having to make his way back around to try to catch this other hippogriff over here. And of course, he had an exhaustion token on him. Another thing that made time stop fairly well timed. Being able to get into a better position on him while he had an exhaustion token. Of course, I took an exhaustion token myself, but I can still pretty much get where I want to be. And now here I've got a couple of options. I'm thinking about, flame breathing or biting Sievart would be nice, but if I bite Sievart, I can't get paralyzing touch off on him because he's got draconic nature, and what I'm actually going to choose to do is cast Phantasmal Killer on Yannick, try to get this fear effect off on him so he cannot attack this hippogriff, and this hippogriff will have a chance to get away next turn if I'm lucky. So here's the roll for Phantasmal Killer. Had to spend my target token to do it, and we've got nothing on the dice. Well, it was worth a try. So we'll move on to Sievart's attack. First, his little Elven Ranger is going to shoot me. And we've got critical hit. That's a good shot, Ranger. I guess that's what they're known for. I'm thinking about whether to mirror image that, but go ahead and take the crit. It's disarmed, for the record. There we go. Getting a little better at that now. And now Sievart's going to whip me with his tail, back and forth. Once again, we've got the hit and the crit. I'm just taking the crit because of armor, of course. And this nickel and diming is getting a little aggravating. But once again, I am going to go ahead and play with fire, take that crit. Oh, it's the other disarmed. Well, 2 damage on Mogros already. Yeah. And it's a tough decision, Nick. Feel like having that mirror image handy. Well, you take a risk. Yannick's human paladin is attacking the bird, the chicken horse, the hippogriff. It does have 1 armor, so that hit there is going to bounce off. But we'll go ahead and have Yannick. I think he decided to bite. So here's that roll for the bite. Oh, camera got cockeyed. Hitting a crit, and Yannick's going to spend his target token. Turns up another hit hiding behind his wing there, and no dodges. So that's 2 hits going through. Going to kill that chicken horse. That's the sound they make when they die. Round 6. We're just running for it now with these other chickens. Well, this one's gonna stay back a little. I think I was thinking Sievart is probably gonna do a 3 hard left, and maybe I can stay out of range a little bit. Of course, he's got fire breath on both of these dragons. He doesn't have flame breath, so there's no danger of a range 4 attack. So probably didn't need to be as cautious as I was with this back hippogriff. In any case, Yannick has moved forward here, sort of turning into the fray, and he's going to dodge. He's unlikely to. Mogros is unlikely to be in a place where Yannick can attack him. So. Good to play defensive. Sievart makes the expected move. Exhaustion token for the hard maneuver. It's trouble with ancient dragons sometimes. And this Dracolich actually is quite a... I did a soft 2. I guess I didn't anticipate Sievart as well as I thought. I don't know. I was kind of reluctant. I really should have done a hard. I was kind of reluctant to take an exhaustion token this turn. I don't know why. I'm going to have to do it, next turn, if not this turn. So Probably I should have just done the hard maneuver this turn. And we're going to go ahead and concentrate my favorite. And I'm thinking I'm going to Flame Breath Sivert. Got a corner of his base there. And concentrate pays off, as it almost always does. Sievert's going to auto dodge one of these hits, but there's still 3 hits and a crit coming his way. Auto dodge because he's a fire type dragon and it's Flame Breath. Is that debilitated? No, that's Deep Wound. Yeah, I forgot to tell Jay to show that one to the camera, but fortunately I remembered it was Deep Wound. That said, I don't know if we remembered to ever actually resolve Deep Wound. So my mistake there. I should have been watching that. Still have mirror image up. Yeah, I think that's right. This should be the last round, because I got away without having to take a time token off it on round 2. Wait. Okay, I had to stop recording for a sec to work out that mirror image thing, but we're okay. It's supposed to be there. Sievert's tail whipping me. Looks like we've got hit and a crit, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tired of getting nickel and dimed by these crits, so I go ahead and use the mirror image. And the Hippogriff running for the border. Chicken horse. Just don't get tired of saying that for some reason. Again, trying to keep. In this case, I'm still a little worried about maybe getting both Hippogriffs inside Sievert's Fire Breath arc. It's probably not unnecessarily cautious. Yannick's doing a soft 2 here, playing to block Malgros. It's a pretty good maneuver. And he's going to keep dodging. Still on the defensive there. Sievert, soft 1. He wants to clear that exhaustion. He's probably not quite within range of that Hippogriff yet, though. However, he'll take a charge token, which could get him within range too. So there you go. And Malgros is going to go ahead and do his hard 2 now, and he's got just enough to get past Yannick. Really good try to block, solid maneuver, but the templates weren't on his side. Taking an exhaustion token there. And I think we're going to go ahead and try to bite Sievert in the butt. And if only I had a concentrate. But 3 hits, meaning 1 hit after armor on Sievert. Yep, there we go. Should be at 4, or is that 5? Yeah, 5 cards on it. Sievert is going to go ahead and use his charge, of course. And at this point, we had a bit of a rules debate about Jay's the Elven Ranger upgrade, which I feel like the real rule should be that you can't, like, you charge, you can only do melee attacks, but the Elven Ranger is a free attack. I mean, I feel like you can't actually use the Elven Ranger up a charge, but I gave it to him in the interest of conviviality, and in the absence of a hard official ruling on that. I mean, I think it's not that ambiguous, but anyway, Elven Ranger, 2 dice. 1 hit. I I actually can block that with armor, but I also got a dodge. Why not? So karma favors me. But now Seavart's going to go ahead and bite. Or I think he decided that that he was just out of range too, which yeah, it could have gone either way, but that's a reasonable decision in the name of give and take. Given that I gave a little on the ranger issue. Yannick, I believe, is now going to fire breath Mogros. We got 4 dice. 3 dice. Oh, this is the human paladin. I'm sorry. Paladin first. He got 2 hits, but armor takes that. Yeah, that's right. He measured the attack for the human paladin to see if Sievert was going to be in range of his fire breath. I think it's pretty clear he's not, but it's nice to get into those habits. Use the measuring stick to the fullest you are allowed. Getting an edge. All right, here's the fire breath, and like 1 crit and 2 eyeballs, but I'm going to auto dodge the crit with my fire immunity. If he had had 1 more hit, it would have protected that crit, but he only had the crit. So these birds are just running for the border. Chicken horses, hippogriffs. I just don't get tired of saying chicken horse. Anyway. Yannick has got a 4 bank, as it turns out. That's a good maneuver. I like his dial. Not as powerful as, say, the gold dragon, but still a pretty solid adult dragon, and it's got some interesting maneuver options. I think. Normally I shy away from a dragon with a less than a 5 dice attack, and only 4 hit points. Health points, but I'm getting intrigued by Yannick here. He's taking a dodge. Among other things, he might be a good target or a good dragon to use parley on, which I haven't tried in a while. Brass dragon only upgrade that you talk to an enemy and you can't attack each other, and it can kind of shut down their breath weapons sometimes. Seavard is bearing down on this lead hippogriff, and he's going to take an exhaustion token to do both of his target and concentrate. Make sure he gets this guy off the board. Meanwhile, Mogros, having a wing collision situation, he's just going to back right up into Yannick there. Not going to happen. All right. You're going to have to sit down there for a while, Mogros. Clearing exhaustion. And we will go ahead and concentrate. And bite Yannick. This is the moment I've been waiting for. There we go. Concentrate's given me 2 extra hits for a total of 4 hits. Yannick is going to roll nothing. Armor's blocking 2, so he's taking 2 hits. He does have a dodge token, which we'll remember in a bit, but technically as long as... Okay, so we... so he has to actually roll... I have to disable Paralyzing Touch, and then he gets to roll 2 defense dice. If he had gotten any... dodge symbols, he would have avoided being paralyzed, but he takes the paralyze, so he drops to the ground, takes 2 extra hits, or an extra hit and a crit off of that. Now, in a sec, we're going to remember he has a dodge token, so technically that's 1 less damage on him, but don't know what the crit was. It doesn't really matter. But since he's on the ground at the end of the turn, he's going to take a damage anyway, and Jay's just going to pull him for convenience. I'm not actually using the not actually using Malgross's ability. Jay is just taking him off the table to as a convenience. He's paralyzed, so he has no way to do it to attack back. So that's where we remembered that dodge token. But it's still, as I said, the numbers still work out to where he's dying at the end of this turn. So just due to the rules of the scenario, get putting a little extra damage on him. And Seabart is going to attack this Hippogriff. There goes his Ranger. Nothing from the Ranger, but now he's going to go ahead and Fire Breath. This should, doesn't even need all those tokens on him. You rolled 4 hits and a crit. There is no way for the Hippogriff to dodge that. And we're moving on to round 9. This other Hippogriff, still playing a little cautious because I don't necessarily want him to get tail whipped by Seavart. That would win him the scenario if he managed to stay alive and successfully tail whip this Hippogriff. So don't want to bungle away the game that way. Seavart's banking around. Of course, Ancients do have a maneuver problem in the air sometimes. They like to be able to land and turn around. This scenario kind of punishes them for their, sluggish profiles in the air a little bit. Anyway, I'm Flame Breath and Seabart with a concentrate token. That is going to be, he's going to auto dodge 1, but there's still 4 hits and a dodge token. There's still 3 hits left. He's taken 3 damage, total of 8 damage. That's the kill. And just to add insult to injury, I think I threw a damage token on Malgross to kill him instantly. Anyway, that was the game. I enjoyed it. I was a little worried at first, but that the mission, like the scenario, might be a little cut and dry or whatever. But I actually thought it added just enough interest to the game. I do usually like escort missions in war game scenarios like this, and in a game that's in a scenario where it's concentrating on aerial maneuvers and having to always stay maneuvering. An escort mission where you have to sort of protect and shepherd your guys can be fun, and it did make me it did influence my decisions, I think, in an interesting way in a couple of situations during the game. So there it was. It went so quickly that we actually played a rematch right after that, and I think I'm going to go ahead and post the rematch as a game 10.5. So if you want to see it play out a different way, you can watch that as well. And thanks for watching.